Hey, it's Nicolette Moore from NicoletteMoore.com. And, what would you do if you have been in an industry for, almost 2 decades and you realize you're not going anywhere financially? You're not going to have a retirement. There's really no guarantee that you can even maintain your position in your career. What do you do? Well, today I have interview number 10 with Will Stauff, and you'll see his answer on the other side. Will has been in network marketing for the past 2 years, but for the past 16 years, he's been a radio host. So it's going to be very fun to listen to him and hear his story today. He sees network marketing as a way to provide him a better future than what the radio industry could provide as far as retirement and everything. So a way to fill in the gaps in his income. So Will, I'd love for you to come out and kind of fill in the gaps of your story. I'd love for you to kind of share about your network marketing experience and what drew you into the industry and where you are today.
Well, to be honest with you, Nicolette, I was in a situation where I was working at a typical radio station. Radio, if you really want to get involved in that industry, the pay is going to be low pay, and you're not going to see a lot of success as far as money is concerned unless you really, really want to move up and you want to work in a major market and you want to really, really climb the ladder, which takes a lot of sacrifice and it takes a lot of pain in order to do that. And people that have done that, they have taken their family with them. They have moved constantly. Many radio personalities are divorced because of that industry, to be honest with you. And it can be very stressful, and especially if you want to move up in order to make that kind of success in the radio industry, you have to be willing to get budget cut, which happens a lot with the nature of the radio industry that's happening right now. And it's one of these things where if you really, really, really got to want it very bad, and even if you are successful in radio, many times people are budget cut because the companies that own them right now, they just to be honest with you, they're just overspent. They're in debt. Some of the big radio companies in the country are severely in debt. They're cutting some of the best talent in the world. So there's a lot of radio people out of work. And I remember being out of work for almost a year at one point in time. But, it's just one of these situations where, to be honest with you, somebody just reached out to me on Facebook and they asked me a question. You probably have heard this before. Have you heard about this industry? Have you heard about the name of this company? I said, no, I haven't. I thought to myself, I saw a message on Facebook, a lady that I kind of know, and I wrote to her on her wall on Facebook. I said, I think somebody is spamming you and is taking over your account because I got this question from you. Is that really you? She goes, yes, that's really me, because I had no idea what she was talking about. But in the process, she sent me a short video. I watched it. She reconnected with me. And to be honest with you, I just had some doubts in my head because I've heard of this before. And just the lady that I talked to on the phone that she introduced me to just really just kind of opened my eyes that, she seemed really genuine. She wasn't trying to push a get-rich-quick scheme on me or anything like that. You've always heard those types of things, and I've kind of grown up. I've heard, you've always heard the awful stories about that one broke brother-in-law that lost everything, and he has a story. But I really listened to them, and I just really kind of got to understand the product. The product seemed really strong, and so I decided that, let me go ahead and give this a shot. And why not? Why not make some extra money? And I just kind of dove in just head deep. To be honest with you, I really wasn't that good at it. I failed miserably, and I've seen so many people. Some of the big people that you always bump into have always said that same thing too. It's just that when you first start out, you're just kind of reaching, you're just trying to figure things out, and you're doing it in such a way. And it just, I did that for probably close to a year or two, and then from there, that was actually a very good experience because it taught me some serious lessons of how to connect with people and reach people. And it's funny because I'm in an industry right now that my job is to connect with somebody every single morning. To connect with people, relate to them, understand what they're going through, and speak to them. So I think those skills, I'm using more and more of the skills that I use every single day in radio. As far as engaging people and getting to know them and trying to get to understand them. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So hopefully that gives you some good information. So.
No, that's excellent.
Do you want me to get that phone real quick?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. I think someone answered the phone. Okay.
I wasn't quite sure what it was. It sounded like a child's toy.
Yeah. No. We have the landline phone in the bedroom here, and my wife answered it in front. So we're good. We're good to go. Sorry.
No worries. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I love what you shared about coming in, and it's foreign, right? You've been in radio for so long, and then here's this new industry. But really, what it boils down to is communication, is knowing how to communicate with people and really meet them where they are. Because just like you, where you were, where you had this kind of not so wonderful outlook, not a very promising future in this industry, and to be introduced to something that could provide you with some security and some, really a huge potential for income. There's so many of us like that are looking for something more, and it's just all about communicating with somebody where they are. And I love how you talked about failing a lot at the beginning, but I can't help but thinking about babies. A baby doesn't learn how to walk in a day. And if a baby gave up, after trying to take one or two steps, then they'd never learn how to walk. It takes time and it takes a process, but it's definitely achievable. And it's just a new way to learn how to do something, But I love how you incorporate your radio communication skills and style into your business.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think the thing is too, is that, I'm in a situation too, where, my job is to connect with as many people as I possibly can. And that really is network marketing. That really is the nuts and bolts of it, is connecting with people, understanding where they're coming from, trying to solve their problems. Is always a major part of that, and helping them, and finding. I think the other part of it too is, if I wanted to relate this to my radio career, just kind of comparing the two. And I was talking about this on my Facebook Live that I try to do at least twice a day here. I always do a Facebook Live to get people some information. Is that everybody needs mentors. Everybody needs somebody that they need to learn from, that's doing it correctly, that's succeeding. Okay. And sometimes, you need to seek more advice than just one person or two people. You got to find out what's working. And I was talking with one person, today, and she's trying to just, she's a prospect, and I got her email and phone number today. So it looks like I got a good solid lead here today. But one of the things I was discussing with her was mentorship. And one of the things that she said was interesting. She said to me, well, it's good that you have a mentor that's been around for 15 or 20 years. And all of a sudden, it just kind of gave me this image of somebody with a gray beard who's been around for a long time, who knows everything. But something, the truth is, you're going to learn. You need to learn from people who are actually creating results and find out how they're doing results. I ran into a guy, a 23-year-old guy, okay, that's making a 5-figure income, and he's got a lot of web traffic. He's very successful at what he's doing, and he's gone through the process himself. So somebody like me, who's 43 years old, and here's a guy that's very savvy when it comes to technical things, very savvy when it comes to understanding the internet and attraction marketing principles that he's using in order to get customers, and also to get people involved in his network marketing company. I look at somebody like that, is that, I can learn just as much from this kid if I'm humble enough and I'm teachable enough, okay, versus someone who's been around for 10 or 20 years. And the truth is that, possibly someone who's been around 10 or 20 years that you may consider as a mentor may be using some old school tactics that are out of date. And I'm not trying to diss anybody who's using different methods or or however they want to do to build their business. But you got to keep that in mind, because it seems like the world is changing, and especially in the age of social media, and in the age of everybody is, there's so many voices out there, and you're trying to get attention. You're trying to get attention to a product, to an opportunity, to yourself, to build your brand, and trying to break through the noise. And so in that environment, I think when it comes to mentors, I think that's just a huge key part of it. And, and I related to any industry you want. It could be my radio industry. It could be anything else, is that if you want to be successful, you've got to find people that are willing to teach you. I remember somebody in my life that really was like Simon Cowell with me when it came to my radio career. He was a program director, and he just told me, "You're terrible. I don't think you should be doing morning drive. You're the worst person I've ever seen get on an interview. When all these different artists, you sound awful." And I says, "You shouldn't be in mornings." That was like a challenge to me, right? And to make myself better. And instead of being this, this hothead where, no, I'm going to do it my way and I'm not going to listen to you. I mean, my ears were open. And so, and I think you're going to find the same thing with the network marketing industry. And to be honest with you, I've gone through a process where people said, "You're doing it the wrong way in network marketing." I didn't want to listen to them. I wanted to do it my way. It's that whole ego talking, right? And not being open to understanding new methods and new ideas. And as soon as you open yourself up to that, and you realize that you're absolutely, you can be coachable and learn new things, then then all of a sudden you can be successful. And then that struggle turns into productivity and results. So.
I love how you talk about mentorship, because and following someone who is showing success, because there is old tried and true methods, especially in this industry. There's a system that's laid out, a blueprint that they give you right when you come in. But there's a lot of companies that are they're still very resistant to, for example, using social media or going online or doing kind of what we're doing and working on branding ourselves and not promoting the company, products, and there's some resistance still towards that. And so it's like, well, if my upline doesn't show me that with the proven blueprint, they're not getting the kind of success that I want. But I see somebody who is, on social media, and they're creating outrageous amounts of success in a short amount of time. I'm gonna kind of assess my options, say, well, I'll take mentorship from both of you, because I think that they both can feed me knowledge that I don't have already. But I definitely am going to be more drawn towards the more successful mentor, and kind of say, okay, what can I do to emulate what you're doing, and try to follow those kind of principles.
Well, I think too, there's two camps out there, and sometimes I don't think these people need to be in separate camps, where you have people that are, the offline strategies versus online strategies. And somebody will say, well, you know what, the belly-to-belly strategy is superior. This is what you need to be doing. And if you're going down this road, and I think when it comes down to it too, I think the problem is that I think you can learn from both. I really do. And I bumped into somebody that, they have built a successful business doing it the old school way of doing it. Okay. There's lessons I can learn from that. One of my favorite mentors is Ray Higdon, if I'm allowed to drop any names out there. But Ray Higdon will say that, if you want to be successful, there's things you can do online, there's things you can do offline. And I think what makes him successful is that he is able to merge the two. He really is able to merge the two, and you have to have a burning desire to go out and make some money, and you have to have a strategy to do it, and you have to find out where money is, and you have to find a way to do it. And I think the person who is able to master both strategy, I do believe though that I think the way the industry is changing too, and this is preached a lot, especially with the group I'm involved in, is attraction marketing principles. And to be honest with you, I'm doing some things offline that are attraction marketing principles that are applied, where I am actually finding targeted people that are interested in possibly what I might have to offer. Okay. And I think too, when it comes to traction marketing, I always tell people that, look, I've got 2 lists right here. Do I want to go after the list that's just people that I know, and I just kind of download every person I've ever encountered or met or know, versus a list that is targeted, where they have an interest, where they have reached out to me? I mean, I really want this list first. Maybe I'll take a look at this list sometime later, but I'm going to hit this one first, right? So it's interesting. So I think when it comes to mentorship, I think you can learn from a whole host of people, and I think the people that are offline, that maybe they're a little bit resistant to using the internet and using technology. I think they need to be open-minded, and I think too, on the other hand, I think people who are really doing well using online strategies and using social media and really utilizing their website, they still too can learn from the old school way of doing things, because there is merit to it. There, some of the top people in the country have built their business offline, belly to belly too. So I think you can learn from everybody, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, you talk about Ray Higdon, and Ray, in one of his trainings, I heard him talk about home parties, and he still does home parties. And
Yep.
so I know there's several people that are resistant to still doing things that way. And even yesterday, I interviewed Mark Harbert, if you're familiar with him.
I am.
He said, he made the comment, I go online because that's where the people are. And so it's just kind of, I think a lot of it can go back to mastery. Do you want to just master one path or the other, or do you want to make a combination of both? And I don't know that necessarily any way is the wrong way. I think if you want to stay offline and it works for you,
mm-hmm. Why not? Absolutely, why not? I think too. So here's the thing too. I think people are most resistant when they're not educated on principles. When they're not educated on principles, they are complete. And I'm going to give you my industry, for example. Okay, is that my own industry is very resistant to being online. I remember this was right around 2003, I want to say. Okay, when radio stations were first starting to stream. Okay, and you could hear themselves online, and that was basically it. And they had their own little website. And they were just experimenting with that. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. I don't even think, who's that dude with the little white T-shirt there? MySpace guy. Yeah, remember him? I don't know if you're old enough to remember that or not. I'm the old.
I had a MySpace.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. I feel young then. So you look at, you basically look at, I kind of lost my train of thought here real quickly, but my industry, I remember the general manager of my radio station saying, I don't understand why we're so intrigued by the internet. It's not making us any money. Okay. Now fast forward to today, where people are making a living online. So, and even today, I mean, there's a lot of people in the radio industry that really don't understand principles when it comes to using the internet to build your brand, to build your website, to get traffic, to get more eyeballs on what you want to show people, whether you're promoting yourself or you're promoting a radio station, your own online business. So, and people are resistant to that, and they'll say, we need to do things this way. This whole Facebook thing, this whole Twitter thing, or this whole social media thing, and this website idea. I mean, because they don't understand it, they're programmed to and trained of doing things the old way. I remember one guy that really kind of impressed upon me when I was really starting to delve into social media. He said, look, you're going to be, he was talking about radio personalities, and I hope I don't get too off track here, okay, with that. But he told me, he says, you're either going to be a 20th century radio personality or 21st century radio personality. And that will apply. Like, you could do the same thing for network marketing too. I mean, maybe that's a tough thing to say, but you're either going to be a 20th century network marketer, where it was all belly to belly, it was all hotels, it was all meetings, okay. But the other great part of the past too is you didn't have as much noise today. You didn't have all this competition, and that competition explodes being on the internet. I mean, it just explodes it, and those voices are everywhere, and so you're really competing hard. More hard than ever now today. That's the other part of it. But back then, those things seemed to work. So like I said, I don't want to discount those strategies from the past, but I think too, though, I think the more educated we are about things, the more open-minded we are about things and learning things, it's going to help us in the end. It's going to help us make money. It's going to help us, build the business and help people solve their problems. So.
Certainly. I'd like to challenge you on one point, though.
Sure.
Is with attraction marketing, the concept I think is very similar to, as you say, belly to belly. Say there's an area that's saturated with one company, and everybody's joining up, and so one person can say, well, I'm not going to make any business because it's already saturated. But at the end of the day, even if a city or an area is saturated, you are still you, and you still can step up and be a leader, and people will be attracted to that. And so even online, the cool thing about attraction marketing, really the principle behind it is you stepping up, being a leader, and then those people that are going to resonate with you, they're going to, you're going to find them, they're going to find you, and that's going to be that magnetic connection between the two. And so, yes, it is a competitive marketplace. Yes, there are definitely strategies you have to learn. You have to learn how to stand out and how to stand out as that leader. But I believe that once you get that mentorship and once you learn those strategies, then your people will find you. And one of my favorite lines, I love Diane Hockman, and I love her line. She says, I'm looking for people who are looking for me. And so that's kind of what it all rolls up into. And network marketing just facilitates such a beautiful picture, because people that find you can make money, you can prosper because of that relationship. And so I think that's one of the neatest things about network marketing, because even in your industry, you have to connect with people every day, but are you profiting off of those connections, and are they profiting off those connections? To a degree, they probably are, you probably are, but maybe not in the residual income kind of way.
Right. And, it goes back to, what I've heard before too. And I always have to be reminded about this, is that it's people that like and trust, right? Okay. That you want to do business with, and really connect. And it goes back to it. It's about relationship marketing, and those principles were born from the people that didn't have the internet before, that were doing the belly to belly strategies, right? So, it is about relationship. It is about relating, and also, learning something new from somebody that sees you as a servant, and as Jim Rohn always has said, I think Jim Rohn let me see if I get this correct. I'm not sure if Jim Rohn was quoting Zig Ziglar or not at the time, but he said that service to many leads to greatness. And if you help enough people get what they want, you'll also get what you want. And when you're like you're mentioning, you're talking about that connection, that magnet that you're supposed to be, that draws people to you, is kind of built in you, because you have that servant's heart. You're there to help people succeed. And there's another book, and this is an old book that my dad gave me a long time ago that I've never read. And all of a sudden, I get in network marketing, everybody's talking about mindset, everybody's talking about personal development. And so I picked this book up and I read it for the first time, and it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey. And he's talking about two different companies and their mentality of how they work. And he says one is a scarcity mentality, and one is an abundance mentality. The abundance mentality is looking to help other people, is looking to share in that piece of the pie, is concentrating on making other people better and stronger. And those are the organizations that flourish. And I think anybody can relate to this, and especially people that have been in different jobs through life. The office that you walk into that has an abundance mentality. Right now, I'm at a great radio station. Everybody loves each other. Everybody's helpful. Everybody's putting each other first. It's not cutthroat. And I've been in more cutthroat situations, and I've been in that abundance mentality. Than in that scarcity mentality. So I'm kind of in an abundance mentality kind of place. and they talk about the scarcity mentality, which is completely opposite, which is basically that everybody's out for themselves. Everybody wants to control this. They want to hoard this idea. They don't want to share it with other people. They're using it for manipulation purposes. And I'm sure some people have possibly been in that kind of office environment before. You've probably been in there. You're trying to get out and try to find a better job. But once you find that place where everybody's happy and everybody's helpful, that's the sweet spot. And I think that's the core of network marketing. And the group that I'm in, I'm seeing that a lot. I mean, I'm seeing that people just go out of their way. People that are super busy too, that have a lot on their plate, are going out of their way for you to help you. So that's what I'm seeing as well.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things I love about network marketing and this industry is that, people have issues with the structure and, building a team and making money off of other people. But it's actually a really beautiful thing because, as somebody comes in and I may, prosper off of their success, but I'm also there. I want to ensure their success. So that person comes in and they're not alone. And so it's a beautiful system and it's structured for support. And if you know anything about network marketing, it's all about helping each other out. It's about personal development, helping the team member feel empowered to go out and make a difference in the world. And I love how you touched upon, really wanting to be that servant and help others, because at the end of the day, really there's no higher calling than to go out and bless the world. And with your products or your opportunity or whatever, you need to know, is that person going to be benefited by this product or opportunity? So I love those points. I do want to transition a little bit.
Sure.
I kind of
weighing you down.
I'm very curious, since you've been in for about 2 years, I'd like to know, what one of your most difficult points in as far as like being a part of network marketing, what's one of the most difficult challenges you've kind of had to experience as a network marketer and how you've overcome that?
Well, I think you have to recharge your batteries. And I hear a lot of people saying, hey, I'm grinding tonight and I'm burning the midnight oil. And I understand that mentality because you want to succeed. And I've done that. I've done the same thing. And you definitely need to recharge your batteries. You need to take a rest. You need to take a nap sometimes. You need to take a break from it and step back and just get replenished in order to do that. And I think with me personally, when I'm not reaching out to somebody for advice, or I'm letting trying to struggle to figure out something that I'm doing, maybe I'm doing wrong, or maybe I'm not understanding something. Instead of reaching out, I kind of isolate myself. And I think a lot of people experience this, is that you can't be isolated. When problems come up, reach out to somebody. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay. And maybe there's a strategy that you're not doing correctly. And the other part of it too is having that strong mindset. And I think people really talk about this a lot. I don't think I do this enough. People always say, that first hour of the day, you just kind of relax, you meditate, you read a good book, you read some good stuff that's for your mindset that helps you, and that really gives you the fuel throughout the day, because it doesn't matter what you're doing with network marketing, you're going to face some level of rejection. Sometimes you'll face more than others at other times, but you're going to have to deal with that rejection, and that can get you down. And I think in a way, it can feed on your self-conscious too. You don't even realize it. You can say, hey, I'm just going to put this away for now. I'm not going to dwell on this and just kind of put it to the side. But if you don't fill your mind with correct thinking at all, and you don't fill your mind with positive things. I'm a believer myself. I'm a Christian, so I rely on Scripture. I rely on the Lord, and that's always a huge help to me. And also at the same time, you do need that strong mindset. You need that resistance in order and really have your goals set up before you. And if I'm guilty of anything, I don't do that enough. And the temptation is that, no, I don't have time for that. I got to churn this out. I've got to make this happen, and I've got to do this, and I've got to I got to get my blog set up. I've got to write an article. I've got to do an email. I've got to fiddle with my Twitter to make it look correct. And I've got to answer this email and all these things that just kind of, it just becomes this huge cloud around you. Then you just get, oh my gosh, I can't even breathe anymore. Then you just get totally discouraged. You're ready to quit. So mindset is huge. And I don't think I do that enough at all. So.
Yeah, I mean, back to the personal development, that's a part of it, is wanting to make sure that you start your day right. And so, you know, I had not really ever heard of affirmations until coming into this industry. And so learning about, you know, positive affirmations, and Jim Rohn even has, you know, you can go Google Jim Rohn affirmations, and there's like a checklist of things that he's already, you know, had pre-formatted for you. So you could use that as a starter list. But just really, even, I don't know if you've heard this, I thought this was pretty smart. Write a list of everything you feel bad about as far as yourself, your insecurities, your business capabilities, all these things, you know, the things that you think you can't or you aren't enough of. And then your affirmations are going to be opposite that. And so you're constantly reaffirming to yourself, you know, that you can do these things that you have doubts about or that you have insecurities about. So affirmations can be very powerful, and definitely something that you should start off your day with. And so I know a leader in our community, and a lady named Erin Birch, and she was talking about how for the first 10 minutes of her morning, she just lays in bed and visualizes and does her, you know, positive affirmations. And I love, you mentioned being a Christian. I love Proverbs. I think Proverbs are probably some of the coolest places to get some really good guidance on how you should, you know, who you should surround yourself with, what you should be saying, what you should be thinking about, you know, all those things help in how you, you know, handle your challenges throughout your day. So that's really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, it really is the fuel that you have. I mean, you just got to, really think about it. I mean, if you don't put gas in your car, you're going to run out. You're going to run out of steam eventually, and you've got to fill it back up. And I think the danger that I've found myself in at times, and I try to stay on track, is that, you know, just keep on running on empty. And then all of a sudden you just crash and burn. And then you don't return to the things that you're doing correctly. Okay. And then you're off track a little bit. And it takes a lot of, you know, and here's the other thing too, is that this is like a huge temptation. I'm sure people experience, especially in this industry, is that the shiny object syndrome. And a shiny object syndrome doesn't necessarily have to be, okay, the shiny object syndrome doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, you know, this silver bullet here is going to make me more money if I join this company or that company, and they're going to solve all my problems, and I don't have to work as hard. But the shiny object could be, boy, this guy I know is a leader right here. I don't have the money to sign up for his mastermind. I'm going to find a way to do it. I'm going to do stupid things to do it. I'm not ready to do it. He wants $1,000, and you know, and almost thinking that, you know, what I'm doing isn't good enough, and probably it is, because I'm getting the right mentorship. I'm following a process. I am seeing results. Okay, but somehow this one guy here, and I know he's probably selling himself, you know, as a successful guy, and he probably is successful, but you know, he's saying that, you know, hey, if you can't do this, you know, you'll eventually quit, and you're is it shiny object syndrome? Well, maybe I really need it. So maybe I do, but I'm not ready for it. You know, maybe when I'm in a situation where I'm ready to do that, and you know, but so, you know, and don't think like that. And there's not going to be one person that's going to solve all your problems. The only person who's going to solve all your problems is you. And going through this process of learning and understanding and growing, and just, you know, enjoy the ride. And I think it was Jeff Olson in his book, The Slight Edge, you know, you're failing your way to the top to some extent. You really are. You're running into obstacles. You're finding out what you did wrong, and you have to make mistakes in order to overcome the challenges and do better, and come up with a different roadmap. So I think that's important too.
I love that. I think some of the hardest things to deal with is challenges. You know, the challenges that you go through or while you're going through them are so difficult, right? And they can be emotionally trying, physically trying whenever you're working late and waking up early and, you know, really pushing through like you talked about a moment ago. or if you're having, I mean, for me, oh gosh, marital problems, or, you know, a spouse not being on the same page as you, all these things create challenges in your life, and you can seek solutions for them. The thing that I love, you know, to touch on it, I love challenges. I don't love going through them. I hate being the one that's like dealing with stuff. I hate it.
Right.
But the good thing about it, on the other side, now I have a set of experiences. I have, you know, this thing that I've gone through that now I'm able to be a blessing to somebody else that might be going through the same thing. And so I think it's really important for us to try to remain positive in those hard moments, because we can really take that struggle that we've gone through and really pay it forward, really help somebody else out, be there for somebody, or be able to relate to someone in a way that we wouldn't be able to had we not gone through these challenges. So it's definitely, you know, it's a blessing in disguise kind of thing.
You know, and it's interesting. I don't know, you know, how you contact people just kind of cold. I mean, you are, you know, a lot of ways, you know, when you contact the people on Twitter or on Facebook. I mean, I have over 5,000 Facebook friends, and they're just people that they just kind of, I don't even add them anymore. They just come to me, and I don't know them that well. So every time you kind of reach out to them, it's just kind of knowing something brand new, and you don't know what they're going through. And it's interesting. I was talking to one lady today who was telling me how she's trying to get her name out, and she's frustrated, and it's not working for her, and she's trying to figure out all these moving parts. And then I'm sitting back and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been through that experience before. I've been exactly where she has been before until I figured it out. And it was a process that I learned that I can figure it out. So, you know, that angst, that struggle that I dealt with before was there for a purpose. And that purpose is now to talk to people that have gone through that same struggle and show them the way forward, you know. And so, and there's always, you know, and I think too is that nobody really has arrived. I think even the people that are on the very top, they're still learning, they're still struggling to some extent to find out different ways and different methods to grow themselves and their online business too. So,
well, and I think like anything, it just takes time. It takes time to build a business. It takes time to build your brand. It takes time to get exposure. You know, it's not a make money overnight industry. It's not a fast success. It does take time. And the people that you hear about that, you know, bring in 50 people in 2 days kind of situation, those are leaders. Those are people that are just already leaders in leadership positions, and they already have people who trust them and know, like, and trust them, you know, and they just have that sphere of influence over that particular group of people. So I know tons of people who compare themselves to, you know, big shots like that. And they're like, well, why can't I get one person in, you know? And it takes time. So it's a process, and it's good because most people don't have 50 people to run in with them right away. And that makes you more relatable. So it's a good challenge to experience and have to just deal with.
And, you know, I kind of ran across a Tony Robbins quote, because I know he's having some big seminar right now that everybody's checking out on Facebook, and I caught a glimpse of it. But I saw a quote from him, and it's just, you know, especially we're in a culture that's so negative out there. There's so much negative. There's so many people that say that you can't do it, that you can't succeed, and that always kind of clouds our judgment on a subconscious level. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're watching a webinar of somebody who is on the top of their game, and you look at all the how awesome their website looks that they've put together, and how many leads they've been able to get, and how they've been able to do this and that, and then you think to yourself in your little brain, I'll never do that. Who am I kidding? But the thing is, they were there at the same exact point as you, you know, and you just got to ignore all that and continue forward and believe in yourself. That you can do it, and people don't realize that the potential that you have is in you, and you just haven't tapped it to its fullest yet. And you're going through a process where hopefully you'll become stronger and stronger and more of a leader, and you'll eventually get there. So you've got to really use those affirmations like you were talking about. So.
Yeah, so you had said that whenever you began your radio career, somebody, kind of called you out and said, you kind of stink at this. This is,
Yeah, that's right.
but instead of you, hiding under your shell and just saying, I'm okay, I'm going to walk away and go work at Wendy's. You said, no, I'm going to get better. And it pushed you. And now you've been in it for 16 years. So that's a huge testimony to not accepting defeat. And I think, when we compare ourselves to other people's success and don't allow ourselves the time to grow into that, then we're missing out opportunities. If you really have a passion for something, take those challenges and keep pushing yourself. Right now, my interviews, I'm just starting to get going, so I don't have a lot of exposure. And I've had those moments where I'm thinking, nobody wants to hear from me, or, oh, I'm not going to be, good at this. But then that actually has fueled me to want to be better and want to keep pushing at it, because I see the value. I see the beauty of what I'm doing, and I believe in it. So I want to keep pushing, harder. So I think if everyone in the world had that in their heart, that drive, I don't see the success now, but I'm going to use that to fuel myself to push towards success. Imagine the world we live in.
Right. Well, here's the other thing too. I think that comes with self-doubt and especially in this industry, you don't always see what's going on behind the scenes. You don't understand what's going on through people's mind. You don't know if there's a person in 5 days that's going to join you, okay, that's going to become a part of your team, that's going to sign up. Okay, and that person might be a producer, okay, a really strong producer. And a lot of times, I'll give you a good example. One of my mentors has, told me as a good network marketer, as a good person who's going to be a top 6, 7-figure earners, one of the things that they do is they email their content to people on a regular basis. If you can do it every single day, do it. Okay. And it's funny because there's one guy that I cold called on the phone at one point in time, a long time ago. He said, I'm too busy for this. I don't have time. Bye. Click. Okay. I had his email, but I just kept sending him stuff. All right. And the weird thing is that this guy was a referral to a guy who wasn't interested in me in the first place. He goes, look, I don't do this network marketing thing, but my friend does, and he speaks for me, and he'll be able to tell me if it's a good idea or not. So I sent him something, never heard back from this guy, picked up the phone one day. He's like, wow. Right. And I get that. But he was on my email list, and I just did what my mentor told me to do, and that is, email your content. All of a sudden, this guy said, hey, this is really good stuff. This is helping me with where I'm doing right now. And then all of a sudden, he's the one who calls me on the phone, and we're going back and forth. All right, and then just one day, just like that, I got him on the phone. I walked him through what I'm doing, and he signed up. Boom, he's a sign up. And this guy's really dynamite. So we don't know what's going on behind the scene. Perception isn't always reality. You might have a list of 600, 700, and you're thinking to yourself, what is wrong with this list? They've opened my stupid link for 9 times. Why aren't they calling me? All right. Why aren't they talking to me? Why aren't they buying a product? You have no idea what's going on. They might be ready to go. And that's the thing. And the funny thing is I was on the phone with this guy here, and he's like, hey, Bill's been sending me all this great stuff and content. I want to do what he's doing, And it's like, wow, I can't believe that. So you got this idea that just because you're not seeing results in front of your face doesn't mean it's not happening behind the scenes. There are people that want to join you. They really are out there. It's just a matter of timing many times and just reaching out, okay, at the right time when it's right for them. So, I mean, you got to believe it. When those types of stories just kind of just throw me back. And the funny thing is, like I said, this guy, I didn't know him from Adam. He was a referral from a guy who didn't want anything to do with what I was talking about. And I just decided to follow a referral, and boom, it was huge. So you've got to really have a mentality that, what you're doing really does matter. And there are things going on.
Yeah. And I think that if you just take that daily consistent action, like you hear so often about, successful people just take consistent steps. towards that goal that they have for themselves. And there's a gentleman named John Lee Dumas, and he does a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And if you ever have time to check him out, I don't know if you've heard of him, but I love his interviews. He does interviews as well. He actually is the one who inspired me to do this. And he said, he's into his hundreds now. He's done hundreds and hundreds of interviews. And he talks about, when he started his podcast, he was crappy. He didn't know what he was doing, but he just believed in it and he had a passion for it. And so he executed and he just kept getting better and better. And now he's got a huge following. He is totally, living his dream. He just moved to Puerto Rico. So he is a product of those consistent behaviors where he just believed in what he was doing and he knew he could make a difference. And now he's living that out. And so I think in the beginning stages, when you're dealing with those doubts and the insecurities, if you just, that visualization and just holding on to that dream and knowing that it's going to take you where you want to go, you just have to continue those consistent behaviors. You'll get there. It just takes time.
Right. And, the phrase, it's a country song now too, but I mean, it was originally said by Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep on going. And, and that's the thing is that you've got to really look at the struggles and the challenges and the doubts as opportunities to grow. You're in a growing phase. Okay. Being out of work for a year was a growing phase for me. Okay. Having a bad job ended up leading to a very good job down the road. And I learned some lessons from where I was at. I was in a situation where I needed a job at one point in time. I didn't have a choice. This is the only one that was available, and it was a bad job. I was there for 4 years, did my time like, any good prisoner does, and I'm off to one that really wants me, that loves me, that's supportive of me, that's giving me all kinds of tools and giving me all kinds of opportunities to do all kinds of fun things that I've always wanted to do. So you got to look at those struggles. You got to look at those struggles as opportunities for growth, even if you don't see it. So that's for sure.
Well, thank you for that. And so you mentioned, some of the bad times or the mindset things that you had to overcome. What would you say has been kind of one of the best things that has happened to you since joining this industry?
Well, I think the best thing that's happened to me is that, I didn't even realize that there was an entrepreneur deep inside me. And I think that when you're living in American culture where you have been trained to believe that you have to go to school, you got to get a good education, you got to find a job, you got to be an employee, and and entrepreneurs are for other people that own a, I don't know, that own that their parents owned a lumber company or something, or some storefront, and they just kind of grew up in it, and you're just part of that system, and I didn't even realize that I have an entrepreneurial spirit within me that wants to succeed, that wants that freedom, that really wants that time freedom, and now I'm pursuing it. And I think in a lot of ways, I've always kind of suppressed it. And now it's really come to fruition. And it's a learning process, but at the same time, I think it's exactly where I want to be. And I think a lot of people, they automatically think I'm going to go to a job, I got to work 9 to 5, and just follow the typical system that everybody has ever followed. And one of my guys that I really like is Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he talks a lot about that in his book, where he's comparing the two dads. His rich dad tells him to go out, make some money, take some chances. And his poor dad is saying, you play it safe, you play your cards right, you do what your boss tells you to do. And so I think that's one of the things that's really been a benefit for me. And there's my phone ringing again. So I'll let it can you give me 1 second? I'm just 2 seconds away. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so can you hear me? Hold on a second. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now too. Okay. So, where were we?
Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes, that's right. But no, like you said, I think that for me, there's an entrepreneurial spirit in me that I didn't realize I had. And then it just kind of opened my mind. And I think with me, I've always been a leader. Okay. I've always been a teacher. Okay. I've taught Sunday school. I've taught classes before. I teach people at my workplace to learn new things. And now that's also come to fruition, where I'm a person that I can relate to people and I can teach them something new. And I've always wanted to do that. And I think this is like the perfect platform for that. So that's some of the things that I've really discovered about myself.
That's awesome. I'm probably going to butcher this statistic, but I think I've heard that prior to the industrial age, when we were still, just very, segregated, we're in our own communities. I think I heard it was about 80% of the population were entrepreneurs and 20% worked for those entrepreneurs. And since the industrial age, it's flipped, where 20% are the entrepreneurs and 80% work for them. And so it's just interesting because before the industrial age, we all kind of had to take care of ourselves. We had to have skills. We had to, work really hard to provide for the family. And our culture has just kind of taught us, reprogrammed us, so to speak, don't worry about that. You just go work for the man and it's going to be okay. But I think
that's right.
I think that we really want to have that ownership. It's just an innate part of us. And so I love that you touched on that, because I just personally believe that most people are wired that way. They just grow up to suppress it. They don't even know to tap into it. But we're coming up on an hour almost. And so I really would love to know, you've been in it for 2 years, and I'm just curious, what, I have 2 questions. I'm trying to decide what I want to pick from. I'll ask you this one. If anyone that, comes up to you and they have not been in network marketing, but they're considering a transition into it, what would your advice be for them so that they could decide if it's for them or not?
Well, my advice would be don't get discouraged, first of all, and don't think of it as a means to immediately, get rich and expect results right away. Maybe you might. I'm not saying, don't, but really just learn to be a more disciplined person, and learn as much as you can. And I think the big advice, and getting back to this, what I kind of previously said, try to learn as much as you possibly can from people who are successful. And if you really feel like you're with one person that's not teaching you what you need to know, look at other people, okay? And just really reach out and really open your mind to people. Read a lot of books too. There's a lot of books out there that are really, really, really good. Eric Worre's book, Network Marketing Pro, is very, very good. And there's also follow people. I would recommend. I watch a lot of Ray Higdon videos. He's always teaching me something new, and there's a lot of resources out there, and just immerse yourself in those things. But the big thing is you got to take action. You can sit there and learn about this all day long, and you got to be serious about it. It's not a hobby. It's really a business. You got to treat it like a business owner. Don't treat it like a hobby or just something you're just kind of fiddling around with, and the scary thing is, and this is kind of sad, is that, sometimes I'll bump into people that have treated it for a hobby for the last 20 years, and they're really not that serious about it at all. So. All
right. Well, awesome. So just to wrap it up, what, if anyone in the audience wants to find out more about you, where would they find you?
My website is stauffsolutions.com. That is STAUFF solutions.com on the World Wide Web. That's where everything's at. So.
All right. Awesome. Well, I'll definitely point them your way. And I really appreciate your time. I'm so glad that I got to interview you today, and you're full of amazing thoughts. Hopefully I'll have you on again in the future.
All right. Great. I appreciate it, Nicolette. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Have a great day.
NicoletteMoore.com. Yeah. Look. You know she got you. Yeah, when it comes to the lead, she gon' lead you straight to the lead generation. It's what it is all about. Recruiting all the prospects, yeah, that's what it's shot. She help you with the coaching. You know that she give you the potion, so you could go and move it through the ocean. Cause she there for you. She really cares. She wanna help you grow. That's why she there. So if you wanna get more, you wanna see this what's in store, NicoletteMoore.com. Get it, y'all.